You're listening to Heritage Radio Network.
Hi everyone, welcome to Potluck Food Talks. I'm screening direct from Malaga, southern Spain. This is a show where we talk about nonsensical food topics. Phil is just ordering some Chinese food.
Well, I was. You interrupted me. I didn't want to, be on my phone while we were starting this episode, but...
Okay, so...
I didn't have a chance to brew myself another oolong. I didn't have time to order my beef tendon soup from Din Tai Fung. I just caught me with my pants down, basically.
There's something I wanted to talk with you, man. I've been having this recurrent idea, and I'm not sure if it's absolute genius or absolute whack.
Does it have anything to do with British people's opinion on lemon curd and lemon pies or tarts?
Well, it could be related, but it's not directly related to that. No.
Okay,
I was thinking these two ideas. I will just say them plainly, and you let me know first thing that comes to your mind. One would be this cheesecake that has a little bit of blue cheese to add some, to some depth, some funkiness to it, but so little that it's subtle, but it just makes it better. And it's super counterintuitive to add blue cheese, at least if you've never seen it before. Two ideas. Number one would be anchovies, and number two would be foie gras.
I would have said that I don't like the idea if you had asked me this question yesterday. But thinking about it as a substitute for blue cheese, I can kind of see it. I can kind of see it working. But foie gras, yeah, for sure. I can also see that.
Foie gras, I see for sure. Anchovy, I think is the, the daring one. It's the gutsy one, you have to have, you need to have balls to serve that. I think that's what makes it interesting, from a Mugari thought process perspective. At the end of the day, it's eggs, anchovies, and cream cheese, which absolutely works together. It has to work together, it's not something... The only thing that makes it... But yet at the same time, even sugar, man, there was this iconic, a tapa that Ferran Adria would do that was condensed milk, this milk syrup, basically, with anchovies. Those two things, and it works pretty well.
Yeah.
That contrast of ancho, or even the sour anchovies at Chepecha that are with blueberry jam, I think that the only problem here is the dessert concept, having a dessert with fish. I've never had it, and I don't know if it's something that I would dig, but doing that and putting it in some kind of other context, maybe as a starter or as a component of some other things in a dish, or even as a savory dessert. Have you had savory desserts before?
I'm pretty sure that I have. Also things going on the verge of savory, A savory, dessert as savory. That is a difficult question, huh?
I went to this restaurant called John Dory in Amsterdam, and I remember having a savory dessert there. And it was like crispy chicken skin with foie gras, and I don't know what else. These were all like savory components. It had like a sweet spot, but at the end of the day, it was like having like a very sweet savory dish. And I'm not super a sweet tooth kind of person, so for me that was super cool. Having that at the end of the meal, just I think foie gras is a great dessert. Having, instead of having a chocolate cake, having foie gras with blueberries or whatever, that perfectly works.
I totally agree.
The problem is the fish, the anchovies, that's. But I have this. I want to try it, man. I feel I just want to get the curiosity out and see what happens.
Honestly, I think that it will and could work. I think both together could work really well as well. Like, because
Blue cheese
salty
and
fish.
anchovies. And foie gras.
No. Anchovy and foie gras together.
I can see blue cheese and anchovy, but anchovy and foie gras, yeah. Wow, I don't see it
100%.
like.
I'm thinking about it now, right? And, things that for me enter in a savory dessert category, and kind of why I'm also now thinking that anchovy and foie gras would probably work. So I was just thinking sort of like, okay, you mentioned like having foie gras as dessert. I love that. And when I was living in San Sebastián, I used to love kind of going for pinchos. And then when you're just full, like maybe you even go to the fucking Viña and have a cheesecake, if you really feel like just doing it or whatever. But then you go to Bar Sport and you have a foie gras just to fucking give you that last punch in the stomach to really take you out of commission.
Have you had the foie gras at Atari?
No, I used to never go to Atari.
Dude, like that has become my favorite foie gras. They do it like with this overly savory corns that you get with beer, corn nuts. This crunchy
Okay, yeah.
corn nuts, caramelized and powder. It's always a good idea to use corn with foie gras or whatever the animal eats. Use it as whatever around the dish, right? This crunchy nuts, this caramelized cornflakes kind of things, like not cornflakes, but this one that came with honey and, anyways, like it reminded me of this kind of cereals, breakfast cereals, that on top of the foie gras. And the interesting part is what comes next. And basically like a very thick white chocolate ganache.
Interesting.
It's so good. So fucking good, man. Like, and like adding like a generous amount of the white chocolate ganache on top of the foie gras, and it's just heaven.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. Like for example, I also love at the end of a sushi meal a tamagoyaki, the one that's like soaked a little bit with this like sweet liquid. Amazing, I love that. Or like there's this thing also, like the other day I had an inari sushi. You know what it is? There's this fried tofu that you soak in like a sweet dashi, and it becomes like a pocket. And an inari sushi is basically sushi rice that's like mixed with certain things wrapped in that pocket. So it's like a little nigiri, and it's like sweet. And like the other day I had a sushi tasting with one of the new sushi chefs, and the sushi was pretty bad. It wasn't very good. But there was one thing that was really nice, and I was very surprised by it, which was an inari sushi, and the rice was flavored with yuzu and truffle. And that combination was like really, I was like, oh wow, that's really, really cool.
It's counterintuitive for me, like citrix and truffle, or even mushrooms and truffle, and mushrooms and citrus is something that I hesitate to, like.
Yeah, but it really worked, and that has this thing where it's savory, but at the same time it's sweet, and it's a perfect ending. We, for example, like if I would go to Rowan, the restaurant where I'm working right now, and I had a long meal, and I just want to have that like last little fucking push, maybe even after I've eaten desserts. We do a hand roll, sushi hand roll, a temaki, with foie gras and unagi. Like roasted unagi with like a sweet sort of like chipotle honey soy sauce and roasted foie gras.
Don't talk so dirty to me, stop it.
It's insane. It's a Michael Höpfel classic, and it's so good.
Maybe one of my favorite dishes I had in Japan, and I ate a lot of things in Japan, was this unagi blue cheese burger. Like super nice. Well, then talking about desserts, so I want to make a statement for all our British listeners. This might sound crazy, out of this planet, but tarts and custards and creme caramels and crema catalana and flans and cheesecakes and pumpkin pies and all of this can be creamy and can be not settled like a gummy bear, and that's fine. And that's a thing in the rest of the world. Also in the rest of the world, people drive on the other side of the car, that's also like, there's a world outside of your island where other things happen. I just wanted to share that thought.
This goes for people from the UK, but also for Americans, who seem to have a very, very strong opinion on things. It's like, what I like dislike. There was a guy in the comments like commenting on a lemon pie.
Wait. We should put in context. People don't know what we're talking about. We should put in context what happened. So Phil posted this video of a lemon curd, and so it's basically like a very runny, creamy lemon curd. And then suddenly, but this also happened before when we posted a video with a cheesecake, which was like a super runny cheesecake, which is the way I like them the most. And suddenly, this smart asses appear like, with this condescending tone, like preaching, saying like, well, how did this motherfucker said? It was like, well, next time if you do it correctly, it would be settled, and that's the correct way to do it. And it's like, dude, correct for who? Who are you? Who do you pretend to be? Because, like, we talk about a lemon tart, I can think about Massimo Bottura, who is you can like him or dislike him, but he's a person in the food world. Or the cheesecake of Suero, which is also, and I can think also of chocolate tarts, or the flan of Albert Adria. These are big names, okay? And they use like very runny versions of these desserts. And then suddenly, Mr. Poppy guy comes and starts like lecturing on a comment section on a social media channel. And it's like, dude, you're just a fucking idiot. Like, go find something to do with your life. That's my opinion. Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely agree. And like, he was we were sort of like, kind of roasting him a little bit, as we do when people comment stupid shit. And he was like, oh, I don't know why you're getting so offended. And he deleted his comment, or like
no, he said,
like
I don't know where you're getting so offended. Like you and I know I'm right. It's like,
yeah.
Dude, it's exactly because of that posture, like, that's basically it.
Yeah. But what I was gonna say is that it's sort of like, man, nobody's getting offended. Like, like we don't care about your opinion. It doesn't matter. Like, but like what I find always very fascinating is this entitled and unqualified, ignorant opinion. When somebody tells me, hey, in my country, they make a fucking, I don't know, like I can't think of it. They make a chocolate mousse. It's kind of like an aerated mousse, but it's liquid. I won't be like, that's wrong.
You can do that. A mousse has to be like a foamy with egg white, and that's the way it was done in 1854, and that's how my grandmother used to do it, and that's a proper mousse, and what you did is not correct. Shut the fuck up. Go somewhere else, like, don't leave your stupid crap on our comment section.
Especially with cooking, honestly, like especially, well, almost with anything else, it's kind of like, man, you don't know anything. Like me also, it's kind of like, I regularly come across things where I'm sort of like, I've never seen that before in my life. I don't really know how to make it either. It's fucking fascinating. That's the cool thing about cooking, Like rules are also there, like they're meant to be broken. It doesn't matter. It's always the people who, because like I remember I was sort of like, oh, you must be like an amazing professional chef, to share your wisdom here. And he was like, no, my days as a professional chef are long gone. And I was like, then shut the fuck up, man. Like, you're like, who are you? Man, just zip it. Keep it to yourself. Nobody cares about you being at your fucking home on your sofa, pretending like you know what the fuck you're talking about, because you don't.
So the case in this, it's a lemon curd where the eggs are boiled, and that's for anyone with an academic background in culinary craft, that's counterintuitive. That's against the rules. You don't do that. You're not supposed to do that. Like,
yeah.
And I guess it works because it has so much fat and so much liquid that the egg somehow doesn't overcoagulate. Because there were some smart people asking like, and it doesn't have like an omelette taste, and that's the interesting about this recipe for people who don't get it. In any case, I take it back. I think all those idiots that want to comment on our section are welcome. That just helps the algorithm to get more traction to our channel. So please continue doing so. Sorry.
Yeah. That's also the thing. Like lots of people commenting sort of like, oh, but doesn't it taste like an omelet? And I'm like, that's exactly the interesting thing about it. And then there was lots of people sort of like, oh, so you're talking about a lemon curd? And I'm like, do you know how many ways there are that you can make a lemon curd? But just dumping everything into a pot and boiling the shit out of raw egg is definitely not a normal way to do it.
Yeah, exactly, and it's not something you will find on a cookbook. Like at least not on any cookbook. In many cases, you will see like a water bath and do it slowly.
Exactly.
And, like all these things. There are also like this other one that said, "Oh, this prick, discovered."
That was funny.
This prick just discovered a lemon curd and he thinks he's a genius. And it's like, God. Anyways.
Yeah. But it was funny. This guy actually, he like responded to, because I heckled him. I gave him a response. And he actually reacted with like a smiley face. So that's all good,
Anglo people have a problem with creamy tarts, like creamy pies and tarts and cheesecakes and chocolate cakes and like the coulant, for example. Like the coulant is supposed to be like an uncooked chocolate cake, but yet at the same time, because I think this is also interesting. What is cooked? Like to say something is cooked. When is something cooked? That there has to be an indicator, a physical, chemical KPI that determines that something is cooked, like a core temperature or something, like if you dominate that and I know at this temperature my egg is not coagulated, but also not rare, so then technically it's cooked according to those parameters. But of course, someone that the only the parameter that it has is a caveman that has to stick a knife inside a cake and find it dry. If that's the only way the only parameter you have, okay, then everything will be undercooked for you.
Yeah. I mean, it all boils down, I think, to a stance to take, a sort of like of realizing it's like, hey, maybe how I know that things are done is not the only way that things are done, and maybe that's okay, and maybe the way that I like to do things doesn't have to be superior to how other people like to do things, because it's not, but
or
people have this ego.
Correct versus incorrect, like that dichotomy of correct according to who, correct according to which parameters, like.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And as you were saying, it's so interesting that, for example, I love the steak, the way it's cooked in the Basque Country, which is basically rare as hell. But I do understand that, for example, I know that Argentina is a great grilling country, so is Japan, and so is United States, among many others. And I know that's not the way it's cooked there. And I would never dare to go to Argentina and say, it's overcooked. It should be rare, like the way we do it in the Basque Country. Like it's wrong. It's not correct. Dude, just travel. But not only physically, like also intellectually. Take a journey through the world and see how things are done, and that the world is way larger than your couch, where you're posting comments on social media. So we were talking about savory desserts, or desserts with savory components. There's another thing that I think it's quite interesting, and is the role of bread in a menu. Like in very classic settings. Let's say in a classic 3 Michelin star restaurant from 50 years ago, they would be like the bread basket, right? And there would be like 170 different kinds of bread, and you would have like different pieces and this and that. Or then you also have like the bread on the side. But I think something that I think it's pretty cool, and I've seen in some nice restaurants, is when they do like a bread course. Like suddenly there's nothing on the table. There's just bread and butter, and you have your time just to enjoy like a beautiful bread and butter or other things. Maybe there is whatever like olive oil, or I don't know what else, things that you can play around with your bread. But you're actually
Yeah.
only enjoying your bread and giving it its space, and not using it just like as a filling component to clean the sauce of the plate. Like, I think that's also pretty cool.
I mean, the enjoyment of good bread, it's like, it's a thing in itself. And bread, when it's good, bread is such a magical fucking creation, right? Through the course of like fermentation, all the things that happen in the fermentation, the flavor that gets developed, the way the sugars change and then caramelize, the way it's cooked. Like if I think of like a sourdough loaf, that's first like basically steamed, with a lot of moisture, and then, dry baked until it's golden. It's an amazing product. And if it's done correctly, it's like there are few things in life that are more delicious to me than a well-made piece of bread and a good butter or good olive oil. It's one of life's greatest enjoyments.
Olive oil or butter?
I don't know. Butter wins every time for me.
I know you're the kind of butter people. I'm the olive oil kind
Yeah.
of people. Like yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's genetic.
I'm a butter person. I can appreciate both. It's only you olive oil people who hate on the butter people. Us butter people, we're like, yeah, man. Like I prefer butter. I prefer butter, but like olive oil is also nice. It's only the olive oil people that are like, only olive oil. Butter is for barbarians. I'm from the like I'm from the south.
No, but a good bread with olive oil, or a pan con tomate, or with an Iberico ham, that's just, I don't think there's anything better in life.
Do you remember in Margot when we used to in the morning bake the leftover flutes, and often you would grate some tomato and like mix some Il Casone olive oil into it, and we used to have the flutes in the morning, like with like basically like a little Frenchy pan con tomate.
I don't remember that. I did that. What a cool guy.
Yeah. So exactly. So we used to always often we used to have like 2 trays of flutes, which are like little baguettes left over from the day that were unbaked, and we would bake them in the morning for breakfast. It was one of my favorite parts of the day. And often we would just have them with like salted butter. But sometimes you would like take a tomato, grate it, add some like olive oil. We had this really nice olive oil, and we just like spoon it onto the bread and eat it. It was fucking amazing start to the day always.
Yeah, that Il Casone, that olive oil, I've never found it again. It wasn't like an incredible Italian olive oil.
It was very nice. Yeah.
That's also an interesting question. Olive oil, Italian or Spanish or Greek or French, or I don't know.
I don't care. I really don't care. Like I've had so many olive oils from Italy that were both really amazing and also super shit. I have so many olive oils from Spain that were absolute crap and also incredibly delicious. Same for Greece. I've had olive oil that is basically like petroleum, but olive oil that's really delicious.
But really, I think in Spain the average is at least good. But to be honest, I think that's a discussion. Like you could say, I could accept it if someone tells me no, it's Italy. In the case of olive oil, Italy reigns supreme. But what I think there is no discussion, and there isn't, is about jamón, about the ham. Like
there's no discussion. There's zero discussion who has the best jamón. There's nothing that comes close to a jamón ibérico.
Right? It's just, like, it's a magic animal, like Homer Simpson would say, like.
Yeah. I remember there was an Anthony Bourdain episode where he was in, I think, Madrid. And he was going around with this guy. I don't even know who it is. Maybe you, if you see him, you know who it is. It was like the Spanish guy. He had like a big gray beard. He was like a little bit like opulent. And I don't know whether he was like a foodie or like an art person or something, but like they went to go eat jamón in a super traditional place. And they had this like big plate with the typical sort of like, round sort of plated jamón. And the guy was like, and you take the jamón and first you like touch it and you rub it in between your fingers and you feel the oiliness and they were like putting these slices of jamón in their mouth like they were like little jewels, like, and you could see them like letting it melt on their tongue. And they were just like eating one slice after the next, just going like, And I remember watching that at some point, and I was like, oh my fucking God. Like, I know what that's like. It's not like I'm watching like a foreign thing. Like, I grew up in Spain, like jamón is amazing.
No. And when you have a good jamón, it will really make you, like close your eyes and
It's
go like,
incredible.
yeah.
It's godly. Yeah. But hey, this brings me to a thing. In recent years, I've had so many jamón cheesecake. Amazing. I can see that.
Yeah,
I can see that.
No, like,
Yeah.
like whenever jamón is cooked, I think it loses, like, I don't know,
Croquetas?
like, yeah, but that's, you do that with the trims, you do that with the ham that you can't eat because it's all the trims and all that, and you cook it, and yeah, it's delicious, but I think it's just better if you have it rare.
I don't know.
No?
I don't know. It's
You're
hard
not
for
sure.
me. It's hard to argue with a good croqueta de jamón. A jamón croqueta for me is one of the most delicious things in the world. Honestly. But anyway, what I was going to say is, in recent years, in the times that because I go to Spain very regularly, there's been so many times that I ate bad jamón. And especially, like when you go to like a bar, and like you have the hams hanging, and they're like very Spanish. They have different types of jamón, and often they're very snobby about it. Some Spanish people are really snobby about the ham. And they cut it, and they give it to you, and they're like, yeah, and you eat it, and you're like, it's basically rancid, no? Like it's like
Yeah,
oxidized to a point where
I've had that as well.
where you're sort of like, no, that's not it, bro. And it's mega expensive. It's not cut nicely. But at the same time, you're kind of telling me this is how it should be because why,
Yeah, at the end of the day, that there's a lot of uneducated tourists, for example, and they eat that and go crazy about it, and it just works, and it's like, well, whatever, we sell it like this. But I think actually that in any like crappy supermarket in Spain, you can, if you go to the cold cuts section and if you look for an Iberico, that will be at least very good. Not good, but very good. Like if it's Iberico, it's Iberico. It's a magic animal,
Yes.
man.
It will taste very nice. Like it will not taste bad. Like obviously there's hams where you're like, it's cut super nicely, blah, and tempered and whatever, and you eat it and it's incredible, right? But it will be very nice for sure. I used to do that. I used to love that in Spain, man. The supermarkets in Spain are good. You go in San Sebastián. I used to go and I used to get like pâté de jabalí, like wild boar pâté and stuff like that, like little foie gras pâtés, just in a fucking supermarket, and not expensive either. Cold cuts, salchichón ibérico. I love salchichón ibérico.
Oh, dude, the one we had at Echevarri, like which is a collaboration with Joselito, that was over the top, man. Super
I wasn't
nice.
there. I wasn't there, man. So I wouldn't know. You went without me.
If you had to come up with a savory dessert or even a sweet dessert with any part of the Iberico peak, what it could be a jamón or whatever. What would you do?
Easy. I would make a flan with the ham fat inside of the caramel.
Ah, you nasty motherfucker. I like that.
Once I had something similar. I had it was a Portuguese dessert by very, very famous chef Nuno Mendes in London. He's a Portuguese chef in London. What was it? He had this, like, it's almost like a flan, but with like more egg yolk. It's a Portuguese dessert, and it was made with pork fat. And it was very, very nice. And this like caramel with like pork fat and this like light flan texture. Jesus Christ, man. I'm a fucking genius. A jamón fat flan Are you kidding me? How good would that be?
Like it's probably someone in the Middle Ages already did it. If you see like this,
Yeah, for sure.
super old Middle Ages recipes, there's a lot of pastries with pork fat. Like cookies and all this kind of thing. Like those have to be good times. When caviar was like the cheapest thing you would find on any corner all over Europe. Like and
Yeah.
and cookies with pork fat. Good times.
That's it for this week's episode of Potluck Food Talks. If you like what we're doing, make sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok as Potluck Food Talks. The show airs every Monday.